Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me, as always, is my good friend Dale. Hey, how are you doing on this chilly day?
Man, doing good. Glad we're inside where it's
Yeah,
warm and with my cup of tea here, ready to go for another Super Bowl run.
that's right. Hey, I say all the time in the winter, I say, you know what I'm really thankful for is heaters. Man, I'm so
Yes.
thankful. Whoever invented the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
HVAC system to give us heaters, man, I would give that person a raise.
Yeah,
I'm
not
sure
enough
they're not
credit.
around anymore, but yeah, that is. I mean, I can deal with the heat more than I can the cold. So
Yeah.
the heat, you just get some fans rolling or something. Anyways, not to get off on that, but hey, we're glad to be here. Cleveland Browns is coming up this
Ooh.
Sunday. It's another noon game. I think it's the only second one of the year. Or
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
guess probably the third. I think they played noon against the Broncos and the Panthers. So I think the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
third
yeah, yeah.
one.
You're
So
right. You're right. Third
third,
one.
but hey, this far into the season and the Kansas City Chiefs only have three noon games. I
Man.
mean, who would have thought of that, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Not this
Not
guy. So
not me. When we were always playing new, never got any primetime games. So here we
I
go.
know, I know. Here we are. So we're going to be looking at this matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Hey, is DJ Humphries, is he going to make that big of an impact if he can even stay healthy? Can the
Yeah.
Chiefs stop Myles Garrett? And what
No.
about Jameis Winston, right?
Yeah.
Jameis Winston, he's going to maybe put some interceptions out there, but hey, he's also going to be a gunslinger and maybe create some big plays too. So we're going to look at all that and more coming up. So come hang out with us.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
All right, Dale. So here's the thing that we got to look at this week is the Cleveland Browns are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs at noon. And the Cleveland Browns, I mean, we got to talk about this to begin with, is they started with Deshaun Watson this year, who's the most overpaid player in NFL history. I don't think that's even a debate anymore at
Yeah.
this point.
No.
The most overpaid player that's ever played the game. Came in, got a fully guaranteed contract, and has played awful ever since he signed that contract. And
Yeah.
he was out for a year before then, anyways. But so he got hurt, which I don't want to say it's ever good that someone gets hurt, but for the Cleveland Browns season, it might be a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. So Jameis Winston comes in there. Jameis Winston is not an all pro quarterback, but that guy, I mean, he's like a Brett Favre, except maybe not quite as accurate.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
But he
he's a
can't. He can't.
gunslinger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like the that Cleveland Browns contract with Deshaun Watson is probably the worst contract ever. With not only being guaranteed, but even if they were to cut him, they would still owe him all that money. And
Yeah.
so it's just a bad deal for them. Bad, good deal for Deshaun. But to go to Jameis Winston, I mean, he is maybe the most electric player to ever put on a helmet. I mean, the guy that gets the boys rallied up for the game, and then just him talking is, I mean, must watch TV. And so he
Yeah.
should be on every primetime game. I think he should be this all time quarterback for every primetime game.
Hey, people would watch if nothing else.
Oh yeah, because he's gonna give you three interceptions, right? And it just
Yeah.
depends on what you're gonna do. Our defensive backs have to be ready to catch those balls and run them back, right? The pick sixes. I know Jameis is asking for the Lord to help him stop throwing pick sixes, but we are
Yeah.
praying that he does throw some pick sixes our way.
Yeah. We're praying for God to answer that prayer next week, not this week.
So, but yeah. Anyway, Jameis Winston, I love watching him play. I love his energy. Love everything about him. But yeah, this week I will not love Jameis Winston as much as I normally do, and we'll hope that he plays terrible so that
Yeah.
our Chiefs can win.
Well, here's the thing with Jameis, which has been his thing for his entire career. He's going to have games that he's going to put up 400 passing yards and 4 touchdowns,
Yeah,
and lead you to a win. And then there's going to be, the very next week, he might put
yeah.
up 330 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So it's just that is who he is. Like, he is a gunslinger. He's going to always try to, if he sees even a slight opportunity to
Yeah,
air it
yeah.
out, he's airing it out. And so with that, comes a lot of interceptions too, because sometimes he thinks someone is open, and then he just sails it on him or whatever the case may be in interception. So this is the question too: is our defense has given up a lot
Oof.
bigger plays the last few weeks.
Yes, it has.
So can the defense, I mean, twofold question. Can the defense capitalize when Jameis Winston throws them a ball that should be intercepted? And
Right.
two, if it's not a ball that can be intercepted, can they slow down or stop the big plays?
Right. Yeah, that's going to be, I think, what we're going to watch and we're going to see because, like you said, he is 1 week he's incredible, unstoppable, and the next week he's throwing 3 interceptions and no touchdowns and throwing for 200 yards. But I think we just have to watch and see and make sure we're not making the mistakes or letting the big play happen because once they get rolling, I feel like they won't stop.
Yeah. So currently the Cleveland Browns are 3-10, which tells you kind of how their season's gone. But
Right.
don't let that fool you either, because they have a lot of playmakers. They got Jerry Jeudy, who used to play with the Broncos. So I kind of wonder too, airing it out there with Jerry Jeudy, if Judy's going to be saying, "Hey, let me tell you about some of the Chiefs' things that they like to do."
Right.
I mean, when you're 3-10, you're going to try everything, including saying, "Hey, I used to play in their division. This is what they did." Against us every time. So maybe that'll work out for the Browns' favor too. But once again, hoping all of that stuff doesn't quite click for them until at least the following week.
Right. Right. Even in the last couple of weeks, some of their losses, they've played really well. They just made mistakes. So like that Broncos game, they probably should have won. But they did not. They did not win. And
Whose dog is that?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna lose my mind. But some games they haven't they've played well and still lost. And so I think it's like, we can't sleep on the Browns. As you say, as you're famous for saying, any given Sunday, we can lose a game. Those guys are paid and they want to play. They want to win. They don't want to lose. Some of these guys are playing for their job, right? For next season. Nothing's given, nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. It's not for long. And so, you have to put good tape on. If you are slacking now, then other teams, the coaching staff now is watching that and seeing how you're reacting. And so we have to make sure the Browns are going to play hard and they're playing the defending champs. So everyone plays hard against the defending champs. And so let's make sure we come with our A game.
Yeah, and so they've dropped 10 games this year, but 5 of those games have been one possession games. So a lot of those games, they're still in it. And playing to the end. So, and that, I don't know if you want to say that it works out well or bad for the Chiefs because it can mean the Chargers are right there, or the Browns, but it also can mean, well, the Chiefs know how to close out those close games too. So
they do.
However you want to look at that. But so they could potentially only be a 5-loss team if they were to flip the switch on those 1-score games here.
Right. And that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. No doubt about that. So here's some other things that we got to watch out for is on the defensive side for the Browns, Myles Garrett, right?
Man.
Maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL. And now he's going up against a Kansas City Chiefs offensive line that has tackles that have a lot of question marks, including the right tackle in Jawan Taylor, who doesn't get talked about enough currently because we're so focused on the left tackle position, which has been even worse for however that happens.
I didn't imagine that could be possible, but it is.
Yeah. And so DJ Humphries comes in last week, right? Gets injured. And so it's his hamstring, but it's on the same knee that he had a surgery on. So it's the same leg. So, I don't want to question the coaching staff because you're not cleared to play until you're actually cleared to play.
Right.
But do you think they maybe rush him back too quick? 2 weeks ago, he was sitting on his couch.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, he's still nursing back that injury, trying to get into game shape as much as he can on an injury, and then all of a sudden gets cleared and is playing in the next week.
Yeah. I think maybe, again, you don't want to question the coaching staff, and again, you probably don't want to rotate left tackle, but I don't, because just, you want consistency on that side of the ball or on that side of the field. But it's like, should they have rotated? Should they have had him on like a pitch count? Like hey, you're going to play the first half. And then, or you're going to play the second half or whatever it would be, or you're going to play quarter one. Yeah. You're going to play the first quarter and we'll see how you feel and just keep going from there. How are you feeling? And hopefully he would be honest in that, or just, I'm sure they did check in on him. How you feeling? How's everything? You feel okay? And so I'm sure he said, yeah, I feel great. And then hamstring, is tough.
Yeah, it is. And so, who do you think is going to? Because right now he hasn't practiced at all this week. Andy
Right.
Reid said that he doesn't expect him to play Sunday. I mean, I guess that could change, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it to since he said that. So we're not necessarily expecting him to play. And so, do you think they're going to slide Joe Tooney over to left tackle, or are they going to go back to Awanye Morris?
Oh man. Uh,
I,
Now,
I
so I
guess.
think, yeah.
I guess. What do you think will happen, and what do you think will happen? Maybe that's a
Oh yeah, yeah,
two-part
yeah, yeah.
question.
Yeah.
If those aren't the same.
What I think is going to happen is unfortunate because I don't think they're going to slide Joe Tooney. I think they're going to give Morris another shot because of what happened last week. Because him going out in the fourth, you would think you just slide Tooney over and then put in Caliendo, but they did not do that. They brought in
Yeah.
Morris, and he did. He did it. I mean, he slowed down enough.
Yeah,
Enough. He
enough,
got in
I
the way
guess.
enough.
Yeah.
So yeah. Which I watched some of those highlights, man. Taylor on that last play, fell down.
Yeah.
And it was like
he's not good. He's not good.
you
I
like
mean, you want to talk about overpaying for a player? That is the worst signing in Brett Veach's career as a GM. Is the contract that he gave to Jawan Taylor.
Well, hold on. We're about to talk about someone else very soon. So we'll see if that is Trump's that one.
All right, we'll see.
So, but yeah. He tried to take out. I think it was what's 52's name for
the Chiefs?
No, he's the defensive guy.
For the Chargers or something.
He played for the Raiders. He played for the Raiders.
The Chargers player? Is that
yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah. He played for the Raiders.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack. He was supposed to block. He was trying to take Khalil Mack's knees out from under him, and then he just missed. And Khalil Mack almost got the sack. And that was on that big play. So I'm like, man, what are we doing? Anyway, so yeah, our offensive line is in shambles. If we don't clean it up, I mean, obviously we have 4 games left to clean it up. And I think we can because we've seen this where we thought I know you and I have talked about our offensive line is not good enough to win a Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden they just figure it out and they can go on a run and do enough to protect him. They can do it. So not losing faith, not losing confidence, but that is one of the glaring points for the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Well, and I'll add this too.
Yeah.
Finding a left tackle in the NFL is not as easy as it appears.
Right. No.
I mean, think about this. The Chiefs signed or drafted Eric Fisher #1 overall, right?
Right.
And a lot of people question that call. And I mean, it's basically between him and another guy. I forget who the other one was at this moment. But and then he came in the first year, and Chiefs fans were like, what are we doing? We sent a #1 pick on this guy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Eric Fisher, his rookie year, played better than Wanye Morris is playing this year. Would you disagree with that?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't you're to your point is I think it's I think all coaches are feeling that the college ranks are not developing these offensive line guys to be ready for the NFL. And so I think, it's one of those things where man, the college has to figure out how are we going to develop these guys to play better and to be better and be more college or pro ready. And it's just, and also I know the NFL guys have talked about just the fact of not having, 2-a-days or just not, all the player regulations that you can't do. So you can't practice with these offensive line guys. And so I think we need to be at the point where we need to practice with them. So,
yeah, well, and I'll put it this way too: the Broncos just re-signed their left tackle to another major contract too. And if you look at the left tackles across the league, the Broncos left tackle is not even in a top 10 category of left tackles. He's okay.
Yeah.
But because they don't want to be in the same position that the Chiefs find themselves in of trying to find someone who can fill that void.
Right.
And so they'd rather pay for an average guy to fill that rather than take the chance of him walking and trying to find another one.
Yeah.
And so, it's hard to find a left tackle in the NFL, especially a really, really good one. And so maybe this Kingsley Sumantua will become that eventually. He's obviously not that right now.
Yeah.
And they've tried several things to throw at that since Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz both left and retired.
What an offensive line. What offensive guys.
Hey, honestly, man, those 2 tackles were so good.
So good.
Man, maybe at that point, that was probably our strength of the offensive line was our
Yeah,
tackles.
yeah, it
And
was
now
our tackle. Yeah,
now it's kind of flipped where the inside is our strength. So
right,
yeah, it's interesting. And
for
so
sure.
with that same thought process here, with that offensive line that we have, why are we not running the ball more?
Well, that's like, I think that's kind of one of my keys to the game is that I think we have to protect Mahomes. We have to come out of this, we haven't talked about yet, but these 3 games in 11 days or 10 days or whatever it is, like we have to come out healthy, and 15 has to come out healthy. He has to be the top priority, right? Because without him, everything else is shot. So you got 2, 3, 4 running backs that can run the ball. The Browns they give up on average 127 yards, almost 128 yards a game on the ground. And so I think, let's stop the pass rush. Let's stop Mahomes getting hit. I mean, the last 3 games, I didn't do the research to count up, but he's been hit way too many times.
Oh yeah.
And
way
so, and so especially in this span of 3 games and 10 days, we need to clean that up. And so if it's, hey, let's hand the ball, running, controlling the clock, getting quick passes out, I think that's going to be something. It's going to help your offensive line not give up those pressures and not giving those glaring. So not that it's fixed, but I think there's ways that you can do. And maybe there is times like Mahomes can look at Wanya Moore. It's like, hey, I need you to block Myles Garrett. You're going to get help, but I need you to block him for longer than 3 seconds because we're going to play action and take a deep shot, right? And keep the safeties honest at least. And so, you can look them in the eyes and say, block like you've never blocked before. And so, like, give me time. And same. I guess you look at Taylor too. Maybe just put them next to each other. Say, give me time, and let me get this ball off. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and on that same note, with Myles Garrett, he has generated the 3rd most quick pressures this season among all pass rushers. So has the 2nd fastest get off speed.
My goodness.
According to Next Gen Stats, 0.71 seconds is his get off speed. So less than a second, and he's already making his move on you. So that's incredible. So, and that's who these tackles have to face this week too. And so
and he's playing at home, so there's no hard count that's going to help Mahomes or anything like that. It's all going to be silent probably, and even though the Chiefs fans travel, but still it's going to be tough to get to slow him down.
Yeah, absolutely, it will be. So and to what you were saying earlier too, these left tackles now, I think Wanya Morse will be the starter this week.
Oh yeah.
But I think that if it becomes too much of an issue, just like last time, 2 games ago, I think they'll kick Joe Thuney out there.
Yeah.
If they need to, but I don't think it's going to start that way. And with Myles Garrett, don't be surprised if Joe Thuney moves out there before the end of the game. So don't be surprised at all.
Do not be surprised.
But
how short of a leash are you giving Morris?
Me or the coaches? Because
you as coach.
If I was the coach, I'd look at him and say, "Bud, I want you to know this right now before this game starts, before you even smell that grass. I want you to know this. If Mahomes doesn't have time to sit back there and throw, you're coming out of this game."
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, I guess I would tell him, if you give up more than 1 sack, so if you give up 2 sacks, you're coming out. And the flip side is, if it's not sack, if it's just quarterback hits, if you give up more than 2 quarterback hits, you're also coming out, or any combination thereof. So because we know what he is just based on this season. We're 13 games in now.
We know.
14th game. We know who you are. The other teams know who you are. And so we know that once you get behind, you can't catch up. You're mentally not there.
Yeah.
And so once
you just stand there. Stand there. You're not even behind. You just stand there like a statue.
We don't want you standing there giving guys high fives as they run by, which is literally what I saw happening in the Raiders game. Yeah, in that Raiders game. I mean, he put his hand out there trying to get him, and his hand would hit the defender's hand. I mean, I know it's not a high five, but it basically looks like it's like, hey, good job, guy. You beat me. Here's a high five to reward you as you get to that quarterback. So, if it's me, I'm giving him a short leash because I know who he is and what his tendencies are. And once he gets beat so many times, he's just going to keep getting beat because he gets in his own head. So
there you go.
That's what I'm telling him. Yeah. So the thing the thing to watch for this game is not necessarily the Chiefs defense versus the Broncos offense. Because I think
Browns.
sorry, Browns. You're right. Browns.
I did it earlier. I messed you all up. All right.
I know you're getting me here. So against the Browns. So the thing to watch against the Browns is not the Chiefs it's not the Chiefs defense versus the Browns offense, because I think both of those are the strength of both of our teams. And I know we talked about last week a little bit. I know people are kind of down on the Chiefs defense, but the Chiefs defense is still only giving up minimal points a game. So so they might be letting you drive the field, but they're not letting you get in the end zone. So that's still a good defense. So let's not get ahead of ourselves too much here. Are there things to worry about? Yes, but let's not beat them up when they're still only giving up minimal points.
Yeah.
The thing to watch is the Chiefs offense versus the Browns defense, because that is the strength of the Browns and maybe the weakness of the Chiefs, which is surprising to say with the Mahomes-led offense, that the offense might be our weakness. And yet here we are 13 weeks in, and we still don't really know who our offense is.
Right.
And so that's the thing to watch for in this game. And I think the key to this game is the Chiefs have got to find a way to get rolling on offense.
Yeah.
And Hollywood Brown is back in practice this week. So, like they predicted, he might be ready by the last game of the season or maybe the playoffs at the latest. And so he seems to be on track to do that.
Hope he stay healthy and hopefully he can, get some good practice reps in. I know he had all of the offseason OTAs and even training camp. And so he knows the playbook. And so I know, but just finding a good fit for him will be great. And so I think Mahomes trusts him. I mean, he got hurt on that play in the third preseason game.
And first preseason game.
First preseason game.
It was the first preseason game and the first play of that game.
And the first, who did Mahomes look for? He will look for Hollywood Brown. So he definitely trusts him. He definitely has a rapport with him. And so I think it will be, I think they'll pick up right where they left off. And so, I think that'll help the offense. And now it'll be, which is a good problem. Like, who do we sit? Who do we play? Because I don't think all the wide receivers can jump up there and play, right?
Yeah. Can only get so many people on the field at a time.
Yeah. And so, you got Jalen Watson, you got Juju, you got D-Hop, and
And you saw that McCole Hardman went on IR this week.
Yeah.
So, that's surprising. We just got guys dropping left and right still.
I know.
I thought we were past this injury thing, and here we are still putting people on IR. So,
But
again,
that's the biggest thing this next 10 days is come out healthy. We got to come out healthy, and hopefully we can.
Yeah. Well, hey, the 3 games in 10 days doesn't actually start this week, right? It starts next week. So, am I reading it?
No, it's the Browns, Houston, then Steelers.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, or 11. Right. So I think it's 11 days or something like that. Crazy, but anyway.
Yeah. So here's the other thing too. I want to ask you.
Okay.
All right. So the Chiefs are very well known, as we've watched all these games.
Right.
They have struggled on offense. They've struggled on defense.
Yeah.
Maybe special teams is the only thing they haven't struggled with, surprisingly, even though we've used 3 different kickers. And 3 different kickers have now kicked game-winning field goals for us.
Right.
So it's incredible. But let me share you a stat with you real quick, too.
All right.
Over the last 4 games that the Chiefs have played, a team has had the ball in field goal range to kick a game-winning field goal. The Chiefs have only had the ball in 2 of those games, and the Chiefs are 4-0.
There you go.
Is that not incredible?
That is pretty incredible.
In 2 games, the other team has had the ball in field goal range and have lost the game.
Wow.
And so incredible. But here's my question. So outside of special teams, because I think that is surprisingly our strength, even with the Harrison Becker injury.
Yeah.
Is there anything like really promising that you see on this team that you look at and be like, you know what? I see potential here that they can actually do something with? Or is it all just like, I don't know, let's just see what happens?
Man, what a question. What a question. Is there anything I see? I think the one thing promising I see is D-Hop. D-Hop is definitely promising. It feels like the more they've played together, the more of a rapport they've gained. And it seems like he's learning where he's going to be at on the field. and things like that. I know it's been like a couple drop passes and things like that, maybe a little mistiming, but I feel like, man, the more they can play together, the better. And so that'd probably be the brightest spot thus far. And then I think the other thing is with Mahomes is the other bright spot is, and it's not, we take it for granted, but it should never be taken for granted. It seems like when we need something, he delivers. And so I think I said last week that or earlier this week, I said, if we were down 4, I think he would have taken us and got a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
So I think those are the bright spots. Then there's a lot of glaring holes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Watson going out was bigger. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, we kind of knew, but that defense has not looked the same.
No.
Even though they're still doing well.
Well, I'll say this about D-Hop, though. Last week was his first drop that he's had since being with the Chiefs.
Right.
And it was a drop because he got blasted by a guy.
Wow.
Who earlier in the game, Nick Bolton got called for a penalty for that exact same play. And it wasn't called a penalty there. So I'm not sure how that works out. I need to answer NFL. But anyways, but even after that game, D-Hop was beating himself up for not holding on to that ball. Which, I mean, that's what you want to see. You have a guy who just got blasted.
Yeah.
I mean, if I got hit like that after catching a ball, I don't know that I would get up.
I'd be in the hospital. I'd be in the hospital for a few days.
I would too. And he's over here, D-Hop is beating himself up because he dropped that ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have given him the ball at like the 2 or 3 yard line or wherever he was. And so it was pretty incredible that he was even able to grab it to begin with, in that position. But yeah, I think the other promising thing is honestly our running game. We're not doing it.
Oh, yeah. I know.
But I think that running game, especially with Isaiah Pacheco back,
and
the punch that you could potentially have with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is a deadly punch as much as there is in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to find another duo, except maybe the Lions might have a better duo.
Oh, yeah.
And they're 2 guys. But outside of them, I don't know if there's a better duo as far as running backs in the NFL than those 2. And so I think that could potentially be a great bright spot if we actually run the ball and not just abandon it after the first series.
Well, hopefully, like Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, they have looked in the mirror and said, like, who are we? Kind of what they did after the Raiders loss. Who are we? Okay, we're running and our defense is elite. Let's win the Super Bowl that way. And so I think they, and Mahomes is going to have to play, be great in 4 situations. He doesn't have to be great the whole game, where I think you can do the same thing. You can run and you can rely on your defense and just see where the cards fall. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing with that too. When Isaiah Pacheco went out, like they seemed to rely on the run game even more when Kareem Hunt got in there.
Yeah.
And then Pacheco comes back and they abandon it. Like that's the logic that I don't understand.
Right.
It's like they were leaning on it and saying, this is how we're going to win these games. And we're just going to pound it against you and make Kareem Hunt beat you.
Yeah.
And he did. And you could tell that as the season went on, he started slowing down because he just gets an older player. And no fault to him.
No.
I mean, it's just the age he's at. And so having him just be able to get those tough yards for you, though, and use Pacheco, I mean, I just don't understand why we stopped running it as much now that Pacheco's back. The guy who gives your team energy, who pops up when he gets hit, right? So, anyways, here's my last question for you.
All right.
So over the last few games, you probably noticed this as much as I did, but especially this last game against the Chargers, the Chiefs went up 13-0 going into halftime. And then the third quarter comes, and all of a sudden, the Chargers are putting up points, and the Chiefs are just sitting back on their hands, it seems like.
Yep.
And it's not just the Chargers, it's these other teams too, right? Even against the Panthers, you can say the same thing. The Chiefs went up big going to half, and then at halftime, it seems like the other team is making adjustments, and the Chiefs are not, or at least are not making the right adjustments. And so can the Chiefs figure this out? Like their coaching staff, their players, are they just getting out coached in the third quarter, or are they just thinking that they got it figured out and not making adjustments?
I think they're trying to make it. I just think they say, "Hey, we'll keep it close and we'll win." I think that's really, I think that's the adjustment. I think that's the unfortunately, at this moment, like they've played with fire so much and not been burned that they're like, "Hey, we'll just keep going until it hurts." And so, I think it would be very telling what happens these next couple games. So, how important do you think, to follow up with that, how important do you think the 1 seed for the Chiefs is?
I think it's very important.
Okay.
I think more important than it's been than any other year. I think any other year it's great to
Yeah.
have it, but not as important. Last year proved that you don't really need it. They
Yeah.
ran through. I shouldn't say ran through, but they went through other
Yeah.
team stadiums and beat them in the playoffs. But this year, because of who the offense is and who the defense is at times too,
Yeah.
I think having that home field advantage is going to be a lot bigger than it has in the past.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, being able to throw some of the offenses off while getting our offense opportunity to be able to hear what's going on, that's going to be huge.
Yeah. What do you think about bringing an extra lineman in and losing one receiver on the left side?
It's not worth it. Your receivers now can't get open.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I mean, well,
so you're going to take another receiver away and say,
jumbo
guess
package,
what?
baby.
Well, I know that, but
But running. But then you start running. You run, and then you got play action, baby.
If you're going to run it, sure. But let's not act like the wide receivers are doing a great job at getting open now, and now you're going to take one more away. And so,
but I think that
so now the defense, you're saying, hey, now here's one less guy to guard, even though we can't get open with the guys we had.
Well,
so,
that guy's eligible. That guy's eligible.
Well, yeah, he's eligible, but if he gets the ball, he's getting 3 yards. So he's not going to get a lot.
But I think that maybe that the wide receiver's not getting open may be a little misleading in the sense that does Mahomes have time to find them?
Well, that's part of it too. So all those things work in tandem together.
Right. Yes.
And so Mahomes, even when he has time, is rushing it because he doesn't trust his receiver.
No. Yeah, I know. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough spot to be in. Anyway.
Yeah.
We still have 100% confidence in Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, and they're gonna do what it takes.
All right. So score prediction. So I have for this game, the Chiefs are favored right now by 4 points. We'll get to our betting lines here in a little bit, but the score, I think the Chiefs are going to finally cover a game.
Man,
finally, we'll see. I got Chiefs 28, Browns 20.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's going to be high scoring, but I don't think they cover it. It's going to be 28-31.
Oh, 28-31. Okay.
Yeah. So I think Chiefs win. They don't cover. They win by 3.
All right. Well, let's look at our betting lines real quick here. So last week we picked the opposite on everything, and I went 2-3 last week. You went 3-2. And so that leads us with a record. You have a record of 9-11.
All right.
And I'm 8-12. So
okay.
Finally have some disparity there. So Chiefs by 4. I'm picking the Chiefs. Are you going to pick the Browns then to cover your score?
Yeah.
All right.
I think, Chiefs win, Browns cover.
All right. Kelsey, 55.5 receiving yards.
55.5. Man, that guy has really come through, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna say, he's gonna have over 55. Give me the over.
All right. I'm gonna take the over on that as well. I think going back to his home state, they're in Cleveland and even hometown, I think he's gonna get it. So Nick Chubb, 38.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, give me the under.
I'm gonna take the under as well. I think they have a great run defense and they're gonna stop.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston, this is the one that's going to get you. The passing yards, 239.5.
239.5. Give me the over.
Well, I'm going to take the over as well. I think that the Chiefs defense has given up too much.
Yeah.
And then Mahomes, 247.5. I'm going to take the over as well. I think, like we said before, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game.
Yeah, give me the under. They're going to run the ball.
All right. I like it. I like how you think. We'll see how that works out for us. So, all right, real quick here, the AFC power rankings.
All right.
Coming in for week 15 technically,
15,
right?
Yeah, week 15.
Week 15. So, there's been a little bit of a shakeup here, but we'll start with number 5. Well, let's give some honorable mention. The ones who are just outside looking in, the Broncos and kind of the Texans. They're a little further down, but they're the better ones hanging around. So number 5, the Steelers. So they moved down a spot, but they're still in the top 5. They still like their head coach, and that head coach knows how to win. Number 4, the Ravens. They potentially have the best offense in the entire league, but they, for whatever reason, decide sometimes not to run the ball, and that hinders them.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
no sense to me why they stop running the ball at times, but when they do, they usually lose games. Um, so they moved down to number 4. Number 3, moving up this week, quite a few spots. The Chargers.
Wow.
I know they lost last week to the Chiefs, but the Chargers are a team to look out for. I think they are a team that's going to be dangerous and no one's going to want to play come playoff time. So number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills. So
The
they were number
Buffalo
1 for the last few weeks, but they moved down to number 2. They dropped a game against the Rams last week
Yeah.
in just a shootout of a game, but their defense has a lot of holes, and I'm wondering if the Rams didn't give other teams kind of a gameplay of how to beat this Bills defense, because that Rams offense, they couldn't be stopped. I think
They could not.
I think they punted maybe once in the entire game, maybe.
Yeah.
I know going into the fourth quarter, or at least towards the end of the third, they had not punted one time yet and scored on every possession. So I think they might have given some people a game plan of how to go up against the Bills. So they dropped one spot, which means the Chiefs are still number 1. I think,
Right.
like we've said before, until you knock off the champion, they got to stay up top.
Yeah.
So they moved down. They weren't number 1 for a couple of weeks when they lost to the Bills, but hey, the Bills have dropped. They look a little more vulnerable. The Chiefs look vulnerable too.
Yep.
Every team in the NFL looks vulnerable, but it's just a matter of, can you overcome your vulnerabilities versus the other team?
That's right.
So that's your power rankings for Week 15 in the NFL and the AFC side.
Boom.
All right.
Good.
All right. Well, hey, I'm glad you agree with those for once. So,
well, I mean, I would switch the Steelers and Chargers. That's the only one I'd switch.
All right.
But anyway,
I'll take it. I'll take it either way. Hey, well, thanks for joining us this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you came here to join us. More than anything, we need you to do this. Find the podcast.
Find it.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're watching or listening this on. And I need you to like or follow whatever the proper method is on your platform. And then, more than anything, leave us a review and comment. That helps us get this out to more great people like you all over the world. We're so glad you're here to join us here in the Kingdom Corner. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.